about 240 years ago, during a siege of the Shaolin monastery by the Manchu soldiers, a fire broke out which turned the monastery into ashes and brought death to many monks and unshaved disciples there. However, a few highly skilled martial artists escaped from the calamity. They changed their names and went into hiding. The few survivors included Ng Moi, the Buddhist mistress, one of the 5 elders of Shaolin, who went into hiding and settled down on a mountain at the border of Sichuan province in China. In order to deal with the defectors who betrayed Shaolin, Ng Moi found it necessary to create a new fighting method to cope with Shaolin Kung Fu. This new system would take advantage of all the weak points of the existing Shaolin techniques. Finally, she succeeded in creating such a system and later passed it to a girl named Yim Wing Chun. Since then, a completely new Kung Fu system developed. It is the Wing Chun Kun. Regardless of the credibility of the above story, the techniques of the Wing Chun system are indeed developed with the intention to overcome the techniques of Shaolin Kung Fu, and in complete contradiction to the traditional theory of Chinese martial arts. For instance, in the existing Shaolin system, wide stances, such as the quadrilateral stance, and the front stance are adopted in order to lower the center of gravity to obtain stability. However, in Wing Chun Kung Fu, the most important point is to maintain the stability of the center of gravity, rather than to adopt a low stance. On the contrary, if the fighter is in a higher position than his opponent, it is easier for him to attack and defend. The character 2 adduction stance is a typical posture created in line with this idea. The character 2 adduction stance is posed in such a way that the feet are kept apart but bent inwards so that an equilateral triangle is formed. When posing this, the weight is rested on the knees, being firmly supported by the feet, posing in a theory similar to that of the tumbler or the Eiffel Tower of Paris. As regards exertion of power, a practitioner of the Shaolin system uses rigid force. If 2 opponents both resort to physical power, the one who has a stronger physical power will always defeat the other one. But there are too many people who are strongly built. Therefore, a Wing Chun practitioner would have to find another way to defeat his opponent, not by crashing his power with his opponent, but to borrow the power from the opponent. Further, a traditional Kung Fu man would adopt long-range tactics, in that it allows the opponent a chance to evade or to reorganize an attack again. A Wing Chun man prefers fighting at close range to launch continuous attacks that give no chance for his opponent to get a breath. Actually, the greatest deviation of Wing Chun Kung Fu from the traditional Kung Fu system lies in concept rather than in appearance. The traditional Kung Fu places emphasis on a pre-arranged sequence of movements. However, in real situations, for example in a street fight, an enemy, unlike a partner, will never launch movements in the same sequence as during practice. He may do this, or he may do this, and he never tells. Wing Chun is consolidated with an idea to move according to how the enemy moves. For this reason, Chi Sao is designed for training the quick reactions of a Wing Chun man. Ever since Ng Moi passed this system to her student Yim Wing Chun more than 200 years ago, it was passed from generation to generation secretly, at least until Grand Master Yip Man, who for the first time began adopting students from the public. However, the achievements of his students differed somewhat from one another because of different periods of teaching and divergence in the power of understanding and attainment by individuals. Sifu Leung Ting, a chosen student adopted by the late Grand Master Yip Man after his retirement, normally regarded as a closed-door disciple, according to Chinese tradition, has received from Yip Man what is thought to be the techniques derived from the concept formulated in the latter years of the Grand Master. With hard training and investigation over 25 years, Leung Ting's theory of the Wing Chun system are quite different from most of Yip Man's students of his early years. In order to show the difference of his concept from those of other Wing Chun instructors, Leung Ting founded his own system and called it Wing Chun. It's spelt differently from W-I-N-G-C-H-U-N, Wing Chun, or V-I-N-G-T-S-U-N, Ving Chun. At present, the International Wing Chun Martial Art Association is the world's largest Chinese Kung Fu organization. Besides its international headquarters in Hong Kong, it also has branches in more than 23 countries. The Siu Nim Tao, literally meaning little idea, is the most fundamental form in the Wing Chun system. By little idea, it means you, as a beginner, should conceive an idea, a completely new idea, and discard the existing old idea in your mind. Like all the other forms in Wing Chun, relaxation of the whole body and maintaining lightness and softness in the execution of every movement in the Siu Nim Tao form is the most important point. Some other Wing Chun men have the wrong idea that a trainee should emphasize contraction of muscles. However, this contradicts the theory of making use of the opponent's power to offset his own power. Your power will, in doing this, be easily made use of. Moreover, the contraction will only be done by the biceps and the contractile muscles, whereas a punch is generated by the extensor muscles, such as the triceps and the back muscles. Therefore, weightlifting is not recommended, as this will only hinder the speed of your action. This is the setting up of stance. The feet are to be placed 1.5 sole lengths apart from each other. While posing the character 2 adduction stance, the feet should not be too close to each other, otherwise the center of gravity will be so high that the body will lose balance. Neither should they be too wide apart, otherwise it'll not be easy to shift the body weight to the hind leg while changing the sidling stance. It is also wrong to bend forwards or backwards too much. The gan sao is performed by first placing the right arm below the left arm, just in front of the center of the body, and then splitting the arms down along the vertical midline of the body. Having made an internal rotation, the arms return to the center of the body, before being withdrawn to the flanks. The left and right thrusting punches. When launching the straight punches, the head should never be bent down, or you'll be like this person. The tan sao, wu sao, and fuk sao. When the arm is stretched forward in the form of the tan sao or fuk sao, the elbow should be as close to the center line as possible. As the forearm is stretched outward,